Good morning, comrades. A while ago we published a video where we were picking up the McLaren 720S, the Apex taxi of 2018 and also 2020. And we said that there is actually a car present here in this hall that we were not allowed, or were uncertain if we were allowed to publish. And if this video is released, which is the case by now, thank you, dear owner, who allowed us to publish this video, because we are going to show you not just a McLaren Senna, but a Senna GTR. And since we have also the stock Senna here, we can do a nice, quick comparison video. But first, let's have a quick overall look on it. And I must say, it looks absolutely phenomenal, breathtaking, anger, mean, I don't know, like so many words come up, and I can fill the whole video with just descriptions of the aesthetics of the car. It looks absolutely fabulous, like a Batmobile in black. It's gorgeous, and I think McLaren should have probably presented it in black back in 2018 Geneva Motor Show, I believe, when they had the orange car with the Richard Mille livery on it. But black looks so much more mean. Unfortunately, on the other hand, you cannot see the shapes and the lines on camera, so that's why we need to have a closer look at the things. So let's start with the normal Senna. Let's start at the front. Unfortunately, the cars are not parked like in the same position, with the front that way facing, or this car back facing this way, so we'll have a better comparison. But anyhow, people who know the casual Senna, they are aware that it has these active aerodynamic flaps here that change position depending on whether you need the aerodynamics or you need to have less resistance. And for the rest, the casual Senna is of course known, or maybe even criticized, by its appearance. That some people say it's not that beautiful, because in this case form follows function. It's all about aerodynamics. It's all about lots of grip. Very overly engineered car. I was fortunate enough to experience two different Sennas on the Nürburgring last year. One of Tim Burton, Shmi, you all know him, and another car. And in both cases, I was absolutely, mind-boggled by the amount of downforce that the stock car provides. But anyhow, let's not get carried away too much. I think you've seen the front of the car already enough. Let's have a look at the Senna GTR. So first thing, that's why I also mentioned the active aero. You don't have the active aero on the front on the Senna GTR here. What you do have, however, is not only those two canards here, 1 and 2, but also a set of 3 canards here on the front splitter. And the splitter is absolutely humongous. It is massive. You can, play Monopoly on here, maybe even play Dungeons and Dragons on it. That's how big it is. It's like a massive table. You always make table jokes about having table on the back, but in this case you have, a bed. You can probably have some friends here and have sleepovers on the splitter over the Senna. That's just like how ridiculously big it is. Then additional aerodynamic elements on the front. So the air exhaust, so to say, not the exhaust, but not the intake, but air exhaust for extra aerodynamics. Then the front fenders as well. Have a look here. Completely open for optimal airflow. And on the stock car, it's also stock car. Ridiculous to call Senna, the stock Senna, a stock car. It's also pretty open, but here we still have a flap, which you don't find on the GTR. Also notice the wet slicks. So I would really love to drive this car in the wet. That would be absolutely amazing. Then on the back, some differences here on the side skirts. So these flaps are here on the GTR, whereas on the stock car, it's again kind of like, it's still massive intake, but the main difference is on the back of the car. So let's start probably with the most crazy thing, the spoiler of the Senna, the stock Senna. It's also by all means not small. It is pretty impressive. It's one of the biggest spoilers, I believe. It's creating 800 kilograms of downforce, so it's big, and it's also sturdy to be able to withstand that force. But when you look at the Senna GTR, the side plates, again, it's not a side plates, it's like a side wall. Like if you close this area, you can have a living room in there. It's absolutely massive.
So sorry to interrupt, but do you want to use me as a reference?
Yeah, that would be...
Like, I mean, I'm not the biggest person, but this is wider than me.
It is, yeah, the side plate.
I'm on the edge here. And I can stand next to it if you want.
Yeah. It's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's so wide, and look at the size of these.
Yeah.
Like that's my hand. I'm not going to touch it, it's carbon, but obviously.
No.
And it's not mine. But when you compare that to the size of them.
Yeah, go stand there.
So, me next to the wing again.
Like it's narrower than you are.
Yeah.
And then for a reference, let's go stand next to the
aero kit.
Yeah, the 570S aero kit. The cute little spoiler.
Where do you want me here?
I don't know. Yeah.
No, that Senna GTR is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. So anyhow, let's get back to the back. Again, these walls, side walls, are ridiculously massive. We still have the active aerodynamic piece of like the gurney flap. So the spoiler itself is already so massive that this part, we can call it probably gurney flap, is this big alone and active. And then massive exhaust, because of course on the track you don't have the sound regulations that you would have on a public road. So we can see two pipes here, which is similar to the US spec Senna, because in the EU spec, European spec Senna, you have triple exhaust to drop the sound, the noise levels slightly to pass the regulations of European Union. But on the race car, that's no issue. And then the craziest part is the diffuser. I don't know, if I made all the bad jokes and references to household projects, then this could be like onion cutters. So you can cut onions as a driving excuse for your for the other people on the track. Oh, I was crying, I could not see you, and that's why I was not that fast. And while we're here, look at the suspension. Unlike the stock Senna, it doesn't seem to be hydraulic, but just like a fixed multiple way suspension. Probably even need to pull the wide angle out. Yep, that's how big it is. And then again, a comparison with the casual Senna, all of a sudden the diffuser looks very cute and small. And again, like the stock Senna diffuser is by all means not cute or anything, but just like when you compare these two cars, it becomes just crazy. What is, however, interesting is that the mirrors are actually pretty much the same. Like, I think they are pretty much the same on those cars. And you would usually see on many cars the mirrors actually being used, like on the modern supercars, hypercars, mirrors being used as a downforce element or being smaller to reduce the drag. But in this case, I think they are pretty much the same. And then another detail, interesting detail. So this one has a side window, as you would expect from any car. The Senna windows are actually pretty interesting. They're only this big. You probably all know it if you watched Senna videos. It's very small. You cannot get a big tasty through it. Only probably small cheeseburger, maybe a McChicken if you're lucky, if we're gonna refer to McLaren jokes. But anyhow, here you have a full window, but I believe you cannot open it or actually pull it down. But on the driver's side, you have what you in the tuning world would call an actual McDonald's drive-through window, because this is actually a shape of a Big Tasty pretty much. So you could fit a Big Tasty through here, but not through there. So in that regard, the GTR is also better than the stock Senna, which is good. Also for weight reduction, you don't see any steering wheel because the car has autonomous drive equipped. No, I'm just joking, the steering wheel is probably there on the passenger seat, and it's just not installed. That's the stock Senna interior. For comparison, by the way, you have a dash comparable to the 720, which flips up and down, and you also have a steering wheel. But for the rest, the dashboard is different. You have also the fire extinguisher installed, and you have a fire extinguisher switch on the outside, so you really need to watch out and not to pull it by accident, because then you're gonna have a couple of €100,000 worth of damage, because you probably have to replace the interior completely and all the cleaning costs. Then you have an antenna for GPS on the outside, something that I have not seen on this car, of course. So it has a very sophisticated telemetry. The roof scoop is still similar to the street car. And then one more thing, the ride height. The stock Senna is currently, of course, on stock suspension, and it's also lifted currently to be able to drive onto this lift and stand on the lift. So there's lots of wheel gap. Probably when it's lowered, it's probably something like that, or maybe lower. But when you look at the GTR, There's absolutely zero wheel gap. It's like even the wheel is underneath the fender. So that's absolutely perfect fitment. And you know what they say about wheel gaps? It's like some other parts. The more fingers you can get it, the worse it is. But in this case, you have a cheater mode. You can go from the other side. The wheels seem to be different as well. They seem to be smaller in size to be able to run slicks with bigger sidewall, and also lighter because of smaller dimensions. But I don't know the exact specifics because I'm not Shmi. I love you, Tim. Yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. I'm sorry for the phone quality video because we were not expecting to find this. Otherwise I would have been better prepared, also done some Wikipedia research to tell you more about this car. But I think it's a very unique experience, and for that I really want to thank the owner of this car and also McLaren Stuttgart from their automotive for allowing me to film and publish this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time on the Nürburgring. I would love to experience this on a passenger seat, or maybe even like with skis or snowboard behind it, because GP ice race is taking place in Austria. That would be lovely. It has already nice tow hook, so would be great. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye. Say bye, Tom.